Hey, good afternoon, all, or good morning for wherever you are joining us for another episode of Liticast. And we got a great one today. And I feel like I say that every single week, but these episodes certainly keep getting better and better. So for wherever you are watching us and joining us from, whether that's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or live on our website at litify.com/Liticast, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to introduce two people here. Laura and Keith from Case Status, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
Of course, I have some great bios on them. Really exciting to have both of them on this call today. Talk about not only their product, but mostly what is going on in the legal industry today. So Lauren is the co-founder and president of Case Status, which is a leading legal client connection and marketing platform. Lauren herself, so a practicing attorney in South Carolina and Ohio, experience for years experiences that lawyers struggle with on a daily terms and form of communication. That's really where she identified and how Case Status was born. And recognizing the need for better client connection through technology, she founded Case Status in 2017. And Keith has an awesome bio as well. He's recognized as one of the most influential lawyers on Twitter. So thrilled to have you as well, Keith. He's the author of the ABA bestseller, The Marble and the Sculptor, From Law School to Law Practice. So certainly should go check out his book there. And has been named to the American Bar Association's Web 100 multiple times and selected as an ABA Legal Rebel in 2019. My favorite statistic on you, Keith, is that he's one of the most active online lawyers within the community, with nearly 3 million messages exchanged to date. So we got some power hitters today. And again, thank you both for joining us.
Good to be here. That makes me sound way fancier than I actually am. That's like, whenever people start reading me all that stuff, I'm always like, no, some of that is probably a lie.
Come on, Keith. We know you got all those trophies up on the shelf, and
I should have the wall of lawyer wall of intimidation that you walk into when you walk into a lawyer's office.
Yeah. Well, excellent. I'm going to turn it over to you guys at this point. Certainly got a great agenda today, and for the audience listening, please feel free at any time. Make sure to drop your questions in for Keith and for Lauren as well. Want to make sure they can engage with you guys here wherever you're joining us from, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever. Make sure to drop in those questions. So I want to, without giving too much away in those bios, Lauren, can you start off by telling us a little bit about Case Status and the products and services that you guys do provide?
Yeah, sure. And just to briefly mention, former lawyer, obviously practiced for over 8 years and saw this problem in the legal industry of, I had over 200 clients and they were calling all the time, asking the same questions over and over again. And I really recognized, if I could just give them the information that they wanted and needed and they were craving, they don't necessarily want to call me either. So how do we do that? Provide them with a really great experience, save a lot of time, and also provide the ability for, the lawyer to make a lot more money, and then also to utilize current clients to help grow your firm. So that's kind of where Case Status started, in recognizing that really client connection software and legal did not exist. So founded in 2017, but ultimately what we do is we save lawyers time. We provide clients with a better experience. We provide them up-to-date information on their case and automation through Case Status to keep them engaged in building better, stronger cases. We track the client experience throughout the case, and then we also help utilize your current clients to grow your firm by getting a custom branded app on every client's phone and getting referrals and reviews from your best and happiest clients.
Excellent, and a lot to dig in there, and we'll certainly kind of get to each one of those individual points throughout this Liticast. But something that sticks out to me, and you've clearly recognized, Lauren, is that we're in this age of the customer, right? For the audience out there, just think of whether you're purchasing some sort of product, right? You're going online and looking for reviews. You expect customer service, and free shipping. The customer itself is in control, and that really applies as well in the legal industry, right? These customers are more powerful than ever. They have the entire ability to shift the market or even define a company's success in a matter of seconds with one review or with one missed phone call, right? They're not necessarily looking for specific products, I guess more so on the commercial line, but the services that our legal firms are offering, they're looking for a complete and effortless customer experience, right? They don't want you guys just to solve problems, which you obviously are. They're looking for a smarter and a faster future, and I think you guys certainly play incredibly well into that, because customers, if you will, are disrupting entire industries because of the way or the ways that they're not being interacted with. So let's talk about client communication. That's one of the first things that you had said, Lauren. When it comes to that communication, what do clients expect from their law firm, and how do most law firms actually meet those expectations?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. I mean, we know we live in a world where people expect a great experience and a great customer experience. And for some reason, an industry where the entire industry is based on relationships doesn't do a really good job of this. We always joke, you can track the status of your pizza order, but clients don't know what's going on in their case, the most important thing in their life. So certainly we've seen that shift. And I mean, obviously, given everything that's happened within the past couple of months, I think more than ever, we're recognizing the need of communication through technology in the legal field. And companies that put customer and client success first are going to win. I think to that point, just there's a stat out there. I think 70% of people prefer to communicate in a text-based type with the text-based type solution. And I think it's a staggering statistic of I think over 70% of people don't even answer their phone if they don't recognize the number. So certainly this is the way people want to communicate. We're seeing that shift. And so now more than ever, it's incredibly important that firms adopt better communication technologies to better serve their clients. So that's the first half of the kind of touching on your question. And I'm sorry, would you repeat the second half of that, of how to improve?
Of course. So then what are the firms actually doing to meet those expectations?
Yeah, a lot of different firms have processes in place, or they'll have, for example, they'll say every 30 days a client needs to be touched, and that's just operating procedure. But a lot of this stuff is manually done. And it just takes hours and hours of staff's time, and really it all can be automated. And so you want your staff, if you think about the Pareto principle, you want your staff focusing their efforts on the 80-20 rule, right? Focus on your best and highest use and what's going to ultimately help your clients more versus these kind of low level tasks that can be automated. So a lot of them are paying people or utilizing people to do these processes, and through technology, they're able to of course, cut down on the manpower, and then also ultimately focus on building better, stronger cases and providing a better client experience.
I also want mine, as a lawyer, I'm totally okay with throwing other lawyers under the bus. So the thing is, a lot of lawyers aren't doing anything. You want to be really real talk about it. It's an industry that is built on precedent, and lawyers' most often role is one of risk mitigation for there's client. So what does that mean? That means lawyers don't like new things. They don't like new things, right? There's a reason the legal industry is a lagging industry across all of business, right? Whatever happens in the business world will happen in the legal industry in about 20 years. So, right? I mean, that's just the facts. The one thing that has upended all this is, of course, the pandemic, and everyone, the gradual change that would have occurred over the next 10 to 15 years. Law firms are now in a panic and going, oh God, we need to make that change in the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Which is where I think this is all to Lauren's point, this sort of automation. How can we leverage technology, right? We can't leverage people. How do we manage people? We're all remote. How do we get in touch with clients? All this stuff is happening in this moment. Suddenly, where lawyers and law firms felt comfortable resisting, the winds of change, now their hands are forced, right? Suddenly they can't wait anymore. They can't wait for some other day when that can happen in the future, because if they wait, then their firm's just going to go out of business.
Sure.
So.
Sure. And I guess kind of unrelated or off the cusp here, how do you think these firms are responding, Keith? How are they actually starting to embrace, right? Are they putting the customer at the center now, realizing, hey, we do need technology or some sort of automation to support our initiatives?
I think smart firms are. I mean, the lawyers who this is we're in a Gretzky moment, right? Everyone asks Wayne Gretzky. He was the great one, and he described that actually actively while he was playing hockey. He's the greatest hockey player of all time. At one point in time, someone asked him, "Why are you so good at hockey?" And his answer was always the same. "Oh, most people skate to where the puck is. I always skate to where the puck is going." Right? And that's it. And smart firms who recognize that we're in a Gretzky moment, you can either skate to where we are or look at where we are right now and extrapolate that over the next 5 to 10 years. Like, where does that mean? Everything Lauren said about where do people like to get messages? Where do they like the phone? I hate if someone calls me on my phone and we haven't set it up, I'm like, I think that person's a jerk. And I don't want to talk to them at all. Sure. Right? Like that is this generation's mindset to that type of stuff. And in the future is, a smart law firm has to recognize how can they utilize leverage, right? And lawyers are very limited in the amount of leverage, right? There's typically 3 types of leverage. There's people leverage, right? So meaning I want to run a construction site, and now I can either dig it myself or I can hire some people and make less money and do whatever, and suddenly I have lots of people.
Sure.
2 is capital leverage, right? I'm going to start a construction company, do this. I don't have enough money. I'm going to go get money from investors. I'm going to go raise $100,000. I'm going to put that money into the company, and then I'll make something happen. You can't do that as a law firm. You can't raise equity as a law firm. You can't raise capital. That only law firms can be partners. Right. So that only leaves you, and people are expensive. Yeah. That leaves you the third option. Your only option is technology. Oh, I want to build a construction site. I should go get a tractor. Right. And if you're a law firm, that means I should go get Litify. I should go get case status. What are the tools out there that are available to me to maximize leverage in this moment?
Incredibly well said there, Keith. And you should trademark the Gretzky moment phrase there, because that's, getting to where the puck is, getting out in front of, whether it's your competition, getting it out in front of unforeseen circumstances like the pandemic, right? Obviously, we can't, we can do our best to, use technology to avoid situations like that, or use technology to get out in front of situations like that. So incredibly well said. So thanks for going a little bit off the cuffs there.
Sure.
Excellent. We had a little comment come in. Love 99, of course.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best.
He is the best. So focusing, I guess, back into our conversation at hand, right? We talked about, I guess I kind of touched on it, that, our clients actually, or the customer, in this age of the customer that we keep talking about, can actually dictate your entire, not only they can actually define a company's success in a matter of seconds. And I'm thinking more in the form of reviews, right? So I guess other than receiving poor reviews, what are potentially some consequences of poor communication and even a poor client experience?
Yeah, I mean, in the world of, we track NPS, which is, of course, a whole other conversation of how some of the world changing industries and companies are using NPS to score customer loyalty and creating brand loyalty. But just to give you some idea, I think like Amazon is in the 60s and the legal industry's NPS is 25. And that's along the lines of wireless carriers and airlines and credit card companies. So just to give you an idea of kind of where people loyalty in terms of law firms in the legal industry sits currently. But yeah, I mean, basically, you have people who are going to tell other people about their bad experience, which is the worst thing that could happen. On the other hand, if you give clients a really great experience, they will be loyal to you for life, and they will send everybody that they know to you. So it's incredibly important to give clients a really good experience. It only will help your firm grow. But yeah, along with potentially losing a client to another law firm, there's the word of mouth, and between reviews and just them vocalizing it to other people, it can be very, very detrimental for a law firm, no matter how much money you expend in marketing. So it's incredibly important to use your clients, give them a good experience, and utilize them as a mouthpiece for you.
Absolutely. I find myself asking this question or having this conversation often, and just kind of thinking about it as humans, and we're more apt to get on and leave a negative review versus leave a positive review, which is strange, right? Obviously for law firms, giving that word of mouth referral is going to be huge, and people are certainly going to be apt to do that. But if there was almost like a way or a better way to encourage our people, and I think Amazon does a good job of this, whether it's through surveys and giving them gift cards or giving them discounts, right? Obviously they can leverage great customer service avenues to get people to leave feedback and leave positive reviews. So certainly other industry averages that the legal industry can measure up to hopefully get that overall score of a 25 to increase. You mentioned in one of your beginning responses, Lauren, around text messaging, and the 70% preferential form of communication. You guys have it listed on your website that 98% of people actually open up a text message. So we know interaction via the mobile device is going to be a significant one. We talked a little bit about this last week, communicating and interacting with clients of different ages and demographics who may prefer different methods of communication. So how can law firms actually meet every client communications need, whether it's through text messages, calls, automation, case status, without actually having to hire more resources?
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely in general, the adoption rate is really high regardless of age. Certainly there's going to be maybe some types of clients that don't utilize texting. One of the things that we do is we have both a custom branded app and text messaging, but generally, people have a smartphone. So for the most part, I would say, probably around 90% of law firms' clients have a phone, right? If not more. So I think best practices is definitely utilizing a solution, letting clients know that they're always going to be informed and knowing what's going on in their case. And because this is the most important thing in their life, they're going to be more apt to lean into that form of communication. So in general, I think if you implement a strategy of texting along with maybe a custom app of some sort, you're pretty much clear. Also too, connecting through email, but we've even seen a reduction in terms of email towards a shift of texting. So of course you're going to have those, particular clients that are not going to utilize it, which you'll of course deal with those accordingly. But for the most part, you want to lean in, and it's only going to get more and more. The growth is only going to happen more and more in terms of leaning towards the phone. I think the stat is the average user taps and swipes on their phone like 2,000 times a day. So we're certainly there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. One of our law firm customers who has thousands of active client cases, they came to us because they had determined that roughly a third of their active client cases didn't have email addresses. So they didn't, and they recognized it had been growing, steadily growing. And if you think about it, modern apps on your phone increase. It used to be, if you went back 10 years ago, and I want to download Facebook or whatever, like, what's your email address? Everything was tied to your email address. Now, if you get WhatsApp, if you get the Cash App, if you get all these things, they don't ask for an email address because it's not as relevant anymore. What people ask, what's your phone number? Just what's your phone number, right? Because that's all they actually need, because they don't want to ever communicate to you via some other third-party system. They want to connect to you directly in app. So the whole paradigm of like an email address as being the cornerstone of communication is fading away as time goes on. And again, to this point, this is, I mean, I can't say who it is, but it's like we're just like, hey, we've got to address this, because this is the becoming, they're like, in a few years, this is going to be over half of our clients don't even have email addresses. So how are we going to get in touch with them? What does this mean? What they said is that we were stuck sending them mail. They were like, we couldn't exchange documents with them. It was slowing everything down. It was making the process for them incredibly painful. And then that was, they came to us with the genesis, like, we need a all-in-one complete, messaging client connection system.
Right.
And, I think there's just going to be more of that. That young people, I mean, certainly, as y'all were just talking about, different demographics, different age groups have different client or different communication preferences. But, the 40 and under crowd,
mm-hmm.
it's messaging, it's apps, it's text, right? That is the growing market. That is the future, So
yeah,
if you're not, again, skate to where the puck is going, right? Mm-hmm. Don't be stuck on the past. Look where things are headed.
Right. I mean, it's meeting the customers where they're at, right? Again, and that goes along. I feel like it's going to keep coming up for this conversation, is skating to the puck, right? That's where everybody wants to be. The 98% open rate, the couple statistics that Lauren spit off as well. I'm with you there, Keith. I think the future definitely lies in the cell phone number, right? Because that's going to unlock a lot of functionality through those messaging applications. I will argue as well that when you do get an iPhone, right, you do have to have an email address, right? So when you activate that iPhone for the first time, you do have to have an email address. Yep. So certainly, hey, not having an email address, but having an iPhone or something like that, do they really go hand in hand? We'll see, but I'm with you 100%. I think the future certainly lies in our mobile device, and it is a great form of communications, and companies like Status are making things possible to do more things just on our mobile device. Just a reminder here for the audience, please feel free to drop in questions. We have Keith and Lauren here for, I guess, as long as they'll stick around with me, but definitely want to hear from you guys, whether it's related to case status, whether it's related to thought leadership. Please feel free to drop in those questions. So I'll be monitoring that, but I think I'd like to shift gears and actually dig in a little bit more to case status at this point. And we've talked about the best forms of communications. And sometimes whether it's our lawyers or paralegals aren't communicating at all because they have software doing the work. They have technology doing the work. Can you guys talk about the rise of those client portals and are people and firms in general embracing them, this new kind of interaction, which is an interaction with software?
Sure. I think, it's interesting having these conversations because when I talk to law firms, I'm obviously like, I lived the problem and it makes my eye twitch almost thinking about it. It's walking into my office and having 20 voicemails, having 15 emails, and like literally having the same conversations over and over again. And I know that colleagues that I saw struggle with this as well. So I know the problem intimately, and I know the industry deals with it. And so it's interesting because the feedback has been, I have been looking for the holy grail client portals, since I've started practicing law. I think that's been the general sentiment because obviously you want to provide clients with a really good experience, but ultimately lawyers just want to practice, right? They don't want to be on the phone having the same conversation over and over again. So I think the general sentiment is, oh my God, like I've been looking for this for, 20 years, the holy grail. So I think in terms of the client portal piece, you have to think about a couple of different things. There's the firm adoption, right? So it has to be easy to use and user-friendly for the firm, but ultimately it has to be really easy to use for the client. And I think we've all had experience of going onto a doctor portal or maybe a portal from like a university or something like that. And it's just a very clunky not a good experience, frankly. And so one of the things we really pride ourselves on is we have a very high adoption rate because it's incredibly user-friendly, and it provides the information to clients that they want and they crave. And then it's also very, very user-friendly for the law firm. So I definitely think there is this understanding of we need something, we need a client portal, we need some sort of communication. But providing the most adoption, the highest adoption solution is ultimately what a firm wants, right? You want your clients to actually use it. So it's something we really strive to make sure we do that.
Sure. I mean, adoption is certainly a whole other conversation. But from a I guess time-saving perspective, Keith, can you just talk to a little bit? Lauren alluded to it, right? She'd come in, 15 voicemails, 20 emails, just, hey, what's going on with my case? What do you need from me? Keith, can you talk to your experience of that and how, you see or how you've actually experienced, the ability to use technology to kind of take control and take ownership of that so you can have more time back in your day?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you talk to any lawyer and they're like, this job would be great except for clients, right? It's not hate on clients. Love my clients. They were all amazing. But it's you do not have a unified client, right? You have some clients who are amazing, who are sophisticated buyers of legal services. This is not their first rodeo. They understand what's happening. And certainly the more away you get from consumer law and more towards corporate law, the sophistication increases. But even on the consumer side, people who have been through litigation, transactional work, maybe they have a small business, they get how it works. And they understand how to handle things and interpret things in a correct manner. Where it becomes a problem is with the high maintenance clients, which is a different type of thing. And, one of the things that becomes interesting is you start to look at the model rules, right? So all attorneys have affirmative duties regarding keeping their clients informed, right? It's like model rule 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, and it's regarding the magic lawyer word here is reasonably informed, right? So what does reasonably informed mean? What reasonably informed to the sophisticated client is one thing, and what's reasonably informed to the high maintenance client is a completely different thing. And then it's also completely different to me as the lawyer who does not thinking about just this one client or that one client. It's like Lauren said, got 200 clients to keep up with, who's in their cases or their transactions are at all different stages. And some are right at the end, some are right at the beginning, some are in the middle. It all takes a long time. It's slow. So yeah, to Lauren's point, how do you, if you're relying just on people to manage that wide of a spread and that different levels of reasonable and reasonably informed, that you're talking lots of people. That becomes painful to actually have to do that manually via human labor. Technology is the answer, right? Everyone else has figured this out. Every other industry has done it. It is, how can you use case management systems like Litify? How can you use client connection software like Case Status that can pick out the low-hanging tasks and handle them either incredibly quickly or automatically, right? If no client communication within 14 days, then send them text message saying, we're hard at work on your case. It's in discovery. This takes a long time. If anything changes, we'll be in touch with you right away. That suddenly just saved your firm a 25-minute phone call of some client calling in being like, oh, what's going on with my case? And you can't just say, yeah, we're still in discovery. Don't sweat it. Talk to you later. Bye. Right? No, they got you on the phone. They're going to want to talk. They're going to want to talk and go through the whole thing and want to expound, and they don't understand what's going on. The fact that you can automate that and negate it and actually make them happy. It's not like, I don't want to talk to clients and whatever, because they do just want to understand. They want to feel important. This is the most important thing in their life, like Lauren said, right? what's going on? Some traumatic thing has happened in my life. I was in a car wreck, or I need a will done because I'm concerned about what's going to happen with the future of my children, or whatever. This is an incredibly important thing, and oftentimes people are scared. They're the sophisticated people are not scared, but everybody else is nervous. They don't understand, and consistency and frequency of communication is what sets their mind at ease. And that's again, technology is the best and most affordable solution for law firms to address those needs.
And that's the theme, right? We keep coming back to it, right? Putting our clients at the center, right? It's almost this change in how we service our clients. You even said it. What's the most difficult piece of practicing law? It's dealing with our clients. But if we put our clients at the center, use technology around that, Litify, Case Status, a lot of our other partners that have joined us on these Liticasts, right? We identify that the way that we're practicing law or how we should work a case is drastically shifting away from a linear model. And succeeding in practicing law, it means knowing where I think your clients are at all time and being prepared to engage with them on your terms, right? So now we're flipping it on a script where instead of my client picking up the phone to call me, I'm actually pushing out the information to them, and I can follow up with them because my technology is telling me that I need to follow up with them, right? So now we need to equip our firms with tools and technology so they can, be faster, they can be mobile and more agile in this customer first world. Right, in technology, like a Litify, like a Case Status, puts the power into our attorney's pocket, into the paralegal's pocket for a better customer experience. So love where your guys' heads are on this thought leadership, and really appreciate this dialogue. Taking it one step further, what are some of the things that come out of the technology? And we love to talk about this all the time at Litify. Is the ability to pull, analytics and, reports, or have, a dashboard experience where as a law firm, I can see, point blank, what is going on, what's the next best action that I need to take, what's the next step, right? So can you talk a little bit about tracking client communication and rolling those up into reports that ultimately help, the client's experience as well?
Definitely. Data, right? It's just so important. It's incredibly important to know where you are, and then kind of get a baseline. And then obviously the goal is to set, to improve that score overall by the firm and by each staff member. So in tracking client communication and in tracking the client experience, you're able to set a North Star for your firm. You're able to obviously track your staff, make sure that they're doing a good job, because currently, law firms have two ways of knowing if there's a problem. They get a client calling the partner complaining, or they see a problem in terms of the fees brought in, at least on a contingency level, and potentially an hourly level as well. Those are like the only two things that the partners really have insight into how their staff is doing, right? So to really be able to track that experience, provide the North Star for the law firm, reward internally based off of who has the highest score each month or yearly, et cetera. So how your staff is doing, and you can reward those that are doing a really good job. You also can confirm that clients are actually being touched. That's the other thing. Just because it's in the case management system that they've been touched, have they really been touched? Making sure that they were getting touched twice a month or once a month, whatever it is that your firm's policy is. Being able to track that, also to improve the quickness of communication. I know a lot of firms have a 24-hour rule where they say, the client needs to be called back within 24 hours. The reality is that's, if you have a heavy caseload, that's just not happening. I mean, that's just the reality. And we joke all the time that in Case Status, our average response time is 11 minutes. So, we joke about, putting on a billboard 11, we put our clients first, average response time, 11 minutes. I mean, that's just incredibly powerful, right? That's a differentiator.
Right.
It also helps you make sure you're building better, stronger cases by tracking that communication, because as we know, if they're treating and they're not going to where they need to go, there's tons of times where the lawyer will get the file and there's a gap in treatment, they didn't get to the right doctor, et cetera, just because they're so busy, and the ability to not track that. And then also to, just again, making sure that if you have a problem client, you can get in front of it, and also knowing who your happiest and best clients are, and really leaning into those relationships and utilizing those people to help grow your firm and create that brand firm loyalty to help you grow in the future.
Yep. Data. You said it, Lauren. I mean, we can do some powerful things with it. Everybody wants it, but what are we actually doing with it, right? And we'll get to that here in a sec, and how we can, use in conjunction with that data that we're collecting, how we can roll that up into, reports and dashboards specifically. But we did have a question come in from the audience that I wanted to address. Keith, I'll shoot it over to you just because you were talking to it. The question was, what program are you using to eliminate 25-minute client phone calls? And if there is a program out there that does that, I'll take 12 of those. I think what you more so were getting at is that the ability to use technology, the ability to use a tool like Case Status, where we're getting out in front of those communications, is reducing those lengthy phone calls. So I'll go ahead and let you kind of touch on that. I know I hit a couple of points.
Sure. To not miss the opportunity to promote ourselves, casestatus.com, get it. But really, it's that, using technology specifically for us, and this is, again, direct feedback from our customers, is because we, our entire focus as a company is a software platform that is about on-demand client communication. What does on-demand mean? Well, if I want entertainment, I don't need to make sure it's Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern so I can watch a TV show. No, it's on demand. I have Netflix, I have Disney Plus, I have whatever. Oh, I need to get a taxi. That means I need to schedule and call whatever. Nope. Boom. I push a button. It's an Uber. It shows up at my door. It's on demand. I want food. I need to get in the car. Nope. I use DoorDash, and the stuff comes, everything is on demand, on demand, on demand. And so one of the things that our customers track and we track internally is as to Lauren's point, Pizza Tracker, Case Status does have that built in. We have a very nice, not a law firm, to your point, the client being first, not a law firm dashboard, but a client dashboard, right? So there's a dashboard pushed to the client that explains the roadmap of litigation or the roadmap of transactions, breaks it down by stage, explains to them where they are in each stage of their case, along with the messaging, so that as a law firm client is like, wait, what's going on in my case? In the past, you would have had to get on the phone, email, do something in order to update them on their case. With law firms that use us, they get on. They can actually don't even have to message you, right? They can get on and get an on-demand case status of what's going on in their case. And so what we find is actually sometimes, Lauren can speak to this some too. Clients. And it's all anonymous data. We don't know actually what's happening and with the law firm's customers, but we get white, labeled information out of it. Some clients are touching the Case Status app multiple times a day.
Wow.
Right? Again, these people are obsessing about what's going on in their life and what's going on with their case. If people are touching what's going on in my case multiple times a day, a dozen times a week, think about how many phone calls that would be into your office that suddenly are eliminated. Maybe they do actually send a message. They're like, I'm concerned. Oh, I need a message. I'm sending a message. Cool. You've eliminated all those little things.
Mm-hmm.
You've eliminated the phone call. They just send you a message and you get to respond, and it's easy. And we have templates built in too. So we have a library of automatic messages that attorneys can just select from. Maybe you don't even have to write the message. The client will think it's personalized to them, right? Because we use technology. We use form fields. It'll auto-populate the client's name, and it'll do all these things automatically. But as the attorney, you're clicking a couple buttons. But on the client end, wow, I always know what's going on with my case. If I message my attorney, they respond super quickly, and I get a personalized message from my attorney.
Yeah. And then just really quickly on that, I have to touch on one use case because the squeaky wheels, right? And generally they're not the best cases either. You have that nice bucket of people. And so anyways, one of the things we have in the system, there's a ton of different automation you can do from a firm level, from a type of practice level, touches you can do to the client, and then also at a client level. So we have, a couple firms that it's like Mr. Jones, God bless him, but I want to give him a touch every single day because he knows his check is coming. And I just want to let him know he's getting this touch. We will call you. We're still working on your case. As soon as we get that check, we will be in touch with you. We have tons of different things in terms of the automation. But to that point, it's been really cool to hear the stories of, I had a really problematic client and we set him up with the automation. He doesn't call anymore. It's incredibly powerful. They just want to know that you're working on their case and that you care, right? Like that's ultimately it. And if they trust you and they know that, then they're not going to call you.
Yeah, that's what we're all about, right? Ensuring that customer success. And Keith, I appreciate you digging in. Dashboards is such a buzzword in the technology landscape, and I appreciate you breaking it down for our audience and what case status offers specifically around dashboards, especially on the client-facing side. So just want to two more questions as we wrap this thing up. Certainly wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the partnership between Litify and Case Status and what we're cooking up. Now that you guys are integrating with Litify, can you talk about the benefits of having Case Status sitting within the Litify platform? Lauren, you alluded to it a little bit in your previous answer. So anything you wanted to add here and shine some light on, kind of what we got cooking up, would love for you to actually talk to that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, Litify obviously is looking at the future of legal. It's the same sentiment that we are. And the fact that it's built on Salesforce, which is, of course, a leading technology, and the ability now for Case Status to live within Litify on top of Salesforce. It's just a powerhouse solution all in one place. And we're just so excited. We have the current integration with the flow back and forth, but now the ability for Case Status to sit directly within Litify, within each client, and to be able to just stay in one platform and message clients, and then also have all of your back office stuff that the client's not necessarily needing to be in the loop on, and then also have the client facing piece right within Litify is just going to be incredibly powerful for law firms and not having to go to two different places, but also to the ability then to communicate with clients on a firm level, on an individual level, and then also the ability, of course, to have the custom branded app on every client's phone and to be able to put your content and your videos and all that through Case Status as well. It's essentially an all-in-one encompassing solution from intake to client communication to back office to grow your firm, all within Litify.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that really quickly. Like one of the things we've also built out, and because our product manager is watching this too, and she's like, "Mission this right now, I'm gonna get mad at you later." And I was like, "Okay, geez, settle down." And she was is that it'll be done by the end of this month as our process builder, which will allow us to trigger events in Case Status based upon actions within Litify. So meaning if some action happens in Litify, it'll automatically communicate into Case Status and we'll automatically send messages for you. And again, just begin an automation, the whole thing, not extra steps, removing steps for the firm, right? It just suddenly we're going to have this really tight integration between the two softwares that you don't even have to leave Litify, right? You just set it up, say auto trigger, connect to this, send these messages. It'll all happen automatically. So that's a really exciting part of our integration. And I do want to say really quickly, I saw Raphael. I love my clients too, but you're a lawyer, you know what I'm talking about, right? We've all been there to where there are some clients that are headaches, and even the clients you love. It's not about that you want to avoid your client. This is not a subtractive thing, actually, with what we're doing at Case Status. It's actually additive. We're adding more communication. We're providing the clients more information. They're feeling not like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Uniformly, clients say to our customers, law firm clients say to our customers that I feel so much more connected to my lawyer. I know so much more about my case now. It's not that we're, trying to cut the cord and not be with clients. It's just that technology provides same thing we've been saying, and again, to feel like we're in a loop. Technology can provide a better client experience. It puts the client at the center of all of this. And it just so happens the side effect benefit is it saves the law firm time, significant amounts of time. So, it's like a win-win. There's no reason not to want to make this situation happen.
Right. And Keith, I love you touched on the process automation that you guys are making and incorporating with Litify. It's one thing to say, yeah, Litify and case status have an integration, and what does that really mean? But the ability to take it one step further and to really intertwine the two solutions and really make it one. So on the client experience side, right? Again, another thing that we're automating, another amount of time that we're giving back to the attorneys, to the paralegals. Things that we're doing inside of case management, inside of practice management, pushing over and are being reflected in the client management solution as well. So really excited for our partnership here, and certainly want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. I'll leave you with one other question, like we always do on our Liticast, is what does the future look like? What's next for client communication? How do you see it evolving in the next few years? Or how do Keith talked about how it's accelerating? But what does your guys' specific space look like as you would forecast it?
Yeah, I think, we saw the future of legal coming, right? I think if we would have started probably 2 years earlier, we would have been too early. So we saw it shifting. I think now with COVID, honestly, it's probably expedited legal another 5 years within probably the next 6 months, right? It's this understanding of, okay, we see the future coming. We know we need to adopt technology. We're starting to adopt technology to wow, we need to adopt technology. Otherwise we're not going to be successful. But the beautiful thing is that technology is only going to make your lives better, your clients' lives better. It's going to save you time and allow you more time with your family and to focus on better tasks. And it also will only help your firm grow. And so there's just so many benefits to it. It is a change, but it's a good change. And it's something that I think, if you lean into and you explore, you're going to just, not only are you going to win, you're going to thrive moving forward. So I'm really excited about the future of legal. It's an industry I love dearly. Obviously, I'm committed, to helping lawyers and paralegals and clients everywhere because I dealt with the problem, and nothing is more wonderful than seeing what we're doing and helping improve people's lives ultimately. And so we're excited about where we're going, and certainly the legal industry is not going away. We're seeing shifts, of course, but in general, the legal industry is always going to need to exist. People are always going to need wonderful, strong lawyers to fight and advocate for them. So in leaning into this and understanding there is a future and it has to shift will only make you a better, stronger firm.
Maybe we'll get Elon Musk will perfect that Neuralink thing. We'll all just plug into each other's brains. That stuff's come down the pipe, right? The future right now, certainly we believe is mobile first and it's messaging first, right? It's because it's asynchronous, right? It's not like I need to. That's kind of the world now. It's like weird. Why it's unusual that you need to interface with people like right then. A mobile first, asynchronous first experience seems like the future going forwards, and it'll be that way for a while. The next evolutionary step. Maybe it is video setups like this. There's Stevie's company, Legaler. It's a company that's all around like essentially a Zoom-like platform, but extra security features that are around, dedicated to, ensuring a really super secure thing, and it's designed for law firms and exchanging documents. There's other tools are going to come up that are, remote first, mobile first, asynchronous first, messaging first, and distance first. The whole idea, what I think all of us everyone's realizing, like, wait a minute, my brother-in-law is a professor at a university, and he's been made to go remote with all this. They're not going back on campus, and as he's done all this, it kind of gets done. He's we're joking. He's like, man, I don't think they're ever getting me back after this, right? Because he's like, what's the need? He's like, I record his lectures. So again, they're on demand. Anybody can watch his lecture, and then he schedules, class participation times a couple times a week. So the students consume the information and do the assignments on their own. And then they show up not for a 90-minute lecture long time, whatever. They show up for 30 minutes. Sure. And they get on Zooms. He puts them in breakout rooms. He has his TAs kind of manage things, boom, 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 boom. And he's like, it's going great. And actually everyone likes it even better.
Wow.
So, I mean, extrapolate that generation of people growing up through this right now. The idea is like, you need to come on down to the courthouse or come on down to, wrong. No, that's not happening. Like, that is deader than dead. It's going to take a long time to die. It's going to go through death throes and painful. And it's going to be like, I'm resisting it. But no, that is dead. The future is remote, mobile, on demand, period.
I love it. You both, first and foremost, thank you guys so much for talking about case status, even more importantly, talking about, your thought leadership and where this industry is headed and why, we can help everybody listening, potentially get there. And we know the age of the customer. I guess we'll leave you with this. The age of the customer is a powerful shift. The opportunity is right now, right? Actually, it was yesterday. The opportunity has never been greater, and every business needs to innovate and transform in order to succeed with technology. So we will leave you with that. Thank you so much all for joining today. Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, right? There's that little bell icon down below. Get those subscriptions, get those push notifications when Liticast is going live. We're on all your favorite platforms, so please make sure to meet us there. Big shout out to the Litify marketing team, as always, who make all of this possible behind the scenes. Couldn't do it certainly without all of you. Always going to plug that Slack community, that Liticast Slack community. We talk about industry news, marketing trends, job opportunities, and just a great way to network with other firms. You can find that on our litify.com website /Liticast. I think there's even a link to the Slack community there where you can just register and have real-time conversations with everyone here in this Litify ecosystem. You can also find this recording on our website. That's litify.com /Liticast. And just a plug for some upcoming episodes. Next week, we have another one of our partners coming on, Blue Jay. And then we have a special conversation for change on September 11th. So really hope you can all join us there. One more thank you to our guests today, Lauren and Keith. Thank you so much for coming on, being such fantastic partners, but also being some leaders and forward thinkers in our industry. And to you, audience, thank you so much again for always joining us. You will see us next week at this same time. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks again, all.
Thanks. Have a great one.
Yeah.